So hi everyone, welcome to my presentation. Today I'm going to introduce my research work, HyPFuzz, formal-assist processor fuzzing. My name is Chen. This is a joint work between Texas A&M and TU Darmstadt. So in recent years, hardware vulnerability emerged at an alarming rate. The total document hardware vulnerability increased exponentially by years. In 2022, 92 hardware vulnerabilities have been detected and documented. However, as the most fundamental component in the entire computing system, hardware vulnerabilities are difficult to be patched. In 1994, Intel spent $475 million to replace processor with the Pentium FDIV vulnerabilities. The mitigation of meltdown and spectrum caused one of the biggest patch coordination in the history, including CPU makers, device manufacturers, and operating system vendors. Even worse, Xilinx claimed that Starbleed, a design flaw in the Xilinx FPGA boards, cannot be patched and will be cracked in the future generation of FPGAs. Therefore, how to detect vulnerability at the pre-silicon stage is critical. Fortunately, inspired by the software fuzzing technique, recent research has shown that hardware fuzzing is an efficient method to detect vulnerabilities. These fuzzers use different coverage metrics to verify multiple complicated hardware designs. Several processor fuzzers, such as DFuzzRTL and the HyPFuzz, have detected more than 10 vulnerabilities across multiple processors with advanced microarchitecture features. However, due to the randomness of fuzzing, hardware fuzzers have hard-to-reach design space that require specific conditions, leaving opportunities for vulnerabilities. So for example, CV6 processor has an interrupt handler that controls the communication between processors and SoC peripherals. It uses two registers, MIE and MIP, to determine the type of interrupt caused. Here, by flipping the software interrupt bit of MIE and MIP, the processor will know that the interrupt is coming from the supervisor software. However, we run the most recent processor fuzzer, the HyPFuzz, for more than 72 hours, generating 200,000 test cases, but still did not trigger the branch statement. So how difficult for a hardware fuzzer to trigger the branch statement? Here are the three instructions that can trigger the branch statement. The first instruction will load the value that can flip the correct bit into a general purpose register. The following instruction will load the bit, the value from the general purpose register into the MIE and MIP respectively. However, if we let the hardware fuzzer to randomly generate text, the probability of flipping the correct bit is 1/2. But according to the RISC-V ISA reference, there are totally 1146 instructions, and 4 of them can modify the value of MIE and MIP. Therefore, the probability of generating the correct instruction opcode is only 4/1146 square. Similarly, the probability of assigning to the correct register is only 1/229. So overall, the probability of generating the test that can trigger the branch statement is only 1.16 times 10 to the negative 10. Therefore, to tackle the hard-to-reach design space of existing hardware fuzzers, we combine fuzzing with formal verification to build a hybrid hardware fuzzer. Assume a design under test is a maze, and there is a vulnerability at the deep space. Fuzzing is efficiently at exploring the design space. However, due to the randomness, it is difficult to get into the deep space. While formal verification is efficiently to get into the deep space because it is relatively easy to identify an execution path that can satisfy the specific conditions required. But it is slow at exploring the design space due to the state explosion issues. However, a hybrid fuzzer can apply the formal tool to reach to the deep space and apply fuzzing to explore the deep space efficiently. Therefore, we combine fuzzing and formal verification to build a hybrid processor fuzzer, HyPFuzz. The HyPFuzz contains 3 components: fuzzer, formal tool, and the intermediate components that control the communication between fuzzer and formal tool. A fuzzer usually starts with a set of seeds. In processor fuzzer, a seed is composed by a sequence of instructions. The fuzzer simulates the seed with design under test, collect coverage results, and apply mutation engine to generate more tests. In HyPFuzz, we apply commercial formal tool that take system Verilog assertions as input. The tool will analyze the reachability of an assertion, and if it's reachable, it will convert the corresponding trace into Boolean assignment. However, controlling the communication between fuzzer and formal tool is difficult and introduces 3 challenges. The first challenge is that when should we switch from fuzzing to formal? To tackle this challenge, we develop a scheduler for the use of fuzzer and formal tool. The second challenge is that once we terminate the fuzzing process, there are so many uncovered points. Which uncovered point we should select first for the formal tool to process? To tackle this challenge, we developed the point selector. And finally, fuzzer and formal tool apply different inputs and outputs. So how should we seamlessly integrate fuzzer and formal tool? When switch from fuzzer to formal, we apply the property generator that convert the uncovered points into the system Verilog assertions. And if the assertion is reachable, then we will use the test case converter to convert the Boolean assignment into a sequence of instructions. So due to the time limit, I will briefly explain the first challenge. For the rest details, please read our paper. Scheduling the use of fuzzer and formal tool is difficult. The question is, when should HyPFuzz switch from fuzzing to formal? Let's assume the coverage trend of a fuzzer looks like this. If we terminate the fuzzing process and switch to formal too early, then we underutilize the efficiency of fuzzer, and the formal tool will process too many uncovered points. However, if we switch too late, we waste our time on exploring the same design space that the fuzzer already explored. But if we can switch at an optimal moment, then we can fully utilize the advantage of fuzzer and the formal tool and minimize their drawbacks. Therefore, we develop our scheduler, and we model the rate of design space explosion of fuzzer and formal tool as rfuzz and rformal. HyPFuzz will switch to the formal when rfuzz is slower. To calculate the rate of fuzzer, we use the coverage increment rate of the recent W test. The rate is calculated by the total number of new coverage points achieved by the recent test divided by the total simulation time of the recent test. For the rate of formal tool, we use the moving average rate of the formal tool. The rate of the formal tool is calculated by the number of uncovered points proved divided by the total proof time. Come to the evaluation results, we compare HyPFuzz with the HyPFuzz on 5 open source benchmarks. To evaluate the coverage achievement, we apply the branch coverage metric. In vulnerability detection, HyPFuzz has detected all existing 11 vulnerabilities found by the HyPFuzz in 3.06 times faster. It also detects 3 new vulnerabilities, which result into 2 CVE numbers. And for the comparison of coverage achievement, when compared to the HyPFuzz, HyPFuzz achieved the same coverage 41.24 times faster, and finally achieved 6.84% higher coverage. Compared to random regression, a traditional hardware verification technique that randomly generates tests, HyPFuzz achieved the same coverage 239.93 times faster, and finally 12.7% higher coverage. We also would like to introduce a vulnerability that is only easy to be found by a HyPFuzz, such as by a hybrid fuzzer, such as HyPFuzz. The issue is that CV6 processor will return unknown value when accessing some control and status register, in short, CSRs. For example, this instruction will load the value of a CSR into a general purpose register. But when the processor processes this instruction, it will return unknown value to the general purpose register. So the reason is because in CV6, it implements the CSR in 2 different modules following different design specifications. The module 1 controls the accessing of CSR through CSR addresses, and it assumes there are 32 CSRs in the design. However, in this module 2, it only allocates 16 registers to store the value of CSRs. Therefore, when the processor tries to access some CSR without the registers, it will return unknown values. Also, this vulnerability is difficult for fuzzer and formal 2 alarm to find. The reason is because the probability of a fuzzer to generate all correct CSR addresses is low. And for formal 2, it's difficult to explore all the CSRs due to the state explosion issues. And finally, we also would like to evaluate the compatibility of HyPFuzz on different coverage metrics. The reason we do this is because vendors may verify their hardware design using different coverage metrics for different security purposes. So the first metric we try is the finite state machine coverage metric that monitors the sequential logic in the design under test. We calculate the coverage results of HyPFuzz and the HyPFuzz, and HyPFuzz achieved 33.76% higher coverage on FSM coverage metric. The second one we try is the condition coverage metric, which is a finer coverage metric compared to the branch coverage metric. It will monitor all the value of signals in the branch statement. So for the coverage result of condition coverage metric, HyPFuzz achieved 15.95% higher coverage. So in conclusion, HyPFuzz can automatically integrate fuzzer and formal 2. It dynamically schedules the use of fuzzer and formal 2 and outperforms existing processor fuzzers. It found new vulnerabilities that are difficult for fuzzer and formal 2 to find, and is compatible to different coverage metrics. Thank you for listening, and we would like to thank for our sponsor Intel and ONR for supporting our research work. And if you have any questions, please let me know.